Okay, so game theory determined what a rupee is, theoretically. Well, I'm going to determine the mechanics of a rupee and how they work, not the in-game way. And honestly, it's just a bunch of random links. Initiate non-existent intro. Go! Let's get started. First, a rupee is currency. Now, what is currency? Currency is an item or items that are commonly agreed to have numerical value that items can be valued at. There are a few aspects money needs to have to be logical. Here are the ones I remember. I looked some up, but yeah, these are the main ones. Hard to reproduce and forge, easy to carry, simple, and value is easy to maintain. Let's see what exactly this succeeds in. Let's go with the reproduction. Well, they're only reproducible if you can manipulate the chemistry of gems, to which that one Deku Scrub in Majora's Mask wouldn't be so keen on getting one for his wife. 2. Carrying. Well, I'll get into some of the specifics of it, so I'll go with how you store in game. Wallets. Fuck this mechanic, fuck this mechanic, fuck this mechanic! Okay, simple. Well, it's an easily identifiable shape, and the amount of a rupee is easy to remember. Sure, they deviate slightly every now and again, but I'll get into that later. Value. That's a tricky one, isn't it? Well, rupees seem to be more common than matter itself, or hell, even Zubats. The value is actually kept by the Hylian or Terminian governments hiding it. Where do you think all those chest rupees come from? In that fucking water temple. That's right, it was done to keep the value up. Or they could just not make more. Meaning, yep, in Majora's Mask, you're ruining the economy. But yeah, 3 of the 4 fuck wallets. That's good for in-game currency. But what about the creation of them and what determines the price of these things? Well, for one, it's a gem, so it's easier to mint than coin money. As with this, all you need to do is find the ore, remove all the rocks remove all the stone from it. You know what I mean. And then cut it while you use the leftover resources for things like sword hilts, wallet designs, fuck those mechanics, paints, which is a thing, like lapis lazuli, to make the keys, specifically boss keys, and many more things. Now, here's the main question everybody wants answered. Why do wallets go by worth rather than weight? Well, here's why. The more valuable rupees, I'll get to my explanation that it conflicts with game theory later. But yeah. Valuable rupees tend to be more denser, or, well, heavier, and therefore, all upgrades are just the better versions. Just use thicker leather and tighten it up better. Fuck this mechanic. But here's an example. Yellow and gold could be the same rupees. Just yellow could be less dense. Now, oh yeah, and silver could just be the version of the gem that doesn't have the impurity. What about how rupees change worth between games? Well, here's how you get them. You find the ore for it. Now, you don't know how much of anything is in the earth. For all we know, Terraria's Hellstone might exist in the mantle. It's not something wired in. even then, we aren't destroying it, so yeah, we don't exactly know what exactly is in the earth and how much is in there. But worth changes because dense quantities of ore may be found, such as more gold rupee ore is found than there are available orange rupees, so therefore they become more worth. But what about rupees that are discontinued? Like the silver, or as I call it, metal rupee in Ocarina of Time, that is used in Majora's Mask. Well, I refer you to the $500 bill. Ugh, can't speak today. It's not used anymore, but now it's worth much more as collector's items. Hell, up to thousands of dollars. Like the metal or silver rupee. I'm gonna call it metal. But yeah, here's a quote like that. From the Zelda Wiki. Quote, in Ocarina of Time, the blue and silver rupee are worth the same amount. And the huge rupee and orange rupee are worth the same amount. The silver rupee's low value is due to the fact that its only purpose in the game is a puzzle element, unquote. Meaning the silver or metal rupee is no longer used, so they more have just stashed it away for other uses. And you're collecting them, you don't get much. Yeah, it's like spending a $500 bill instead of selling it for more money. You're not getting your maximum use out of it. Though this is quite the jump from 5 to 100, or whatever it is. But according to game theory, rupees are in fact rubies and sapphires. But yeah, in game theory, well, yeah. But we don't actually know the chemistry of the Zelda universe. I mean, our universe doesn't have magic, theirs does, so obviously the laws of physics could be different. Chemistry and all that. Yeah. So, these may be a completely different gem. A different ore. Maybe it's similar, but yeah. Okay, so we've determined what exactly a rupee is, information about this metal rupee, and I've taught you some information about economics you probably won't use. But what about the original Legend of Zelda? I mean, come on. Yellow rupees are worth 1, and blue rupees are worth 5, and no others exist. Well, I refer you to Germany. After World War I, they pretty much printed a bunch of money off to pay for the debt of war. And because of how ruined Hyrule appears to be, everything, it would seem like most of rupees have lost their value. Green rupees would probably be so common that they'd be used as a building material or something like that. Red rupees and up, except for the yellow rupee, would probably just be used for whatever you wanted, because only 2 of them had any continuing value. But yeah. The first Zelda game takes place during an economic depression. So yeah. Happening. Oh wait, and before you wonder about Link's Awakening, having blue rupees as the 1 and green rupees worth more, that's a dream. There's going to be inconsistencies. So yeah. Sorry, this section's unscripted. But yeah. Oh, green rupees worth 5. Red are worth 30. blue's worth 1. Definitely. Yeah. But what about rupee shards? Well, those are probably just broken gold rupees. Probably put them back together, use some masking tape, and yeah. But what about rupees? Well, antimatter? Maybe cursed rupees that negate other? I don't know. But yeah, and the big rupees might just be the refiners probably just clocked out early and said, let's just make these new currency for 4 swords. I don't know. I didn't memorize the entire Zelda timeline. And Skyward Sword, the purple rupee probably just wasn't discovered. After all, these are just impure forms of a certain kind of gem. After all, rubies are more common than the actual gem, to my knowledge, or at least we know about them more. So that's why silver rupees are worth more than the red ones or such. So yeah. Happy Thanksgiving, y'all.